Hello and welcome to the Nagoya Tachiai Banzuke podcast. It's me, Bruce Henderson, Associate Editor of Tachiai, and joining me is the creator of Tachiai, Andy. Say hello.
Hey, Bruce.
Hey, Andy. Good to see you again. We're a little late, but, never denied as far as this podcast is concerned, but we've got it together now. So, just about 10 days ago, we had the Banzuke publish, and it was full of some fun and interesting facts. I think LK Sumo was a little worked up about some stuff, but tell me your reactions to any of the ranks that you found interesting.
Well, I immediately circled Ichinojo and Kaisei because with the break that they've had, honestly, I'm thinking they're shooting for 10 wins at least at those ranks. Because I think that they're probably as fresh as they're going to be off of the relative rest they've, and they're lower on the Banzuke than either of them are really capable of. So I think that they should clean up, if they're healthy, and then I'm going to go with another really really bad pun here, but Shima don't know me. I don't know really enough about him, and he popped up in the middle of the Maegashira on his second his second Makuuchi tournament. So it will be very interesting to see how he performs at that rank. It's his highest ever, and I mean he cleaned up against the Pixies last tournament, but he's gonna have to face Kuroshogiku, Ichinojo, Onosho, much more substantial guys. Exactly.
Probably gonna take Chiyotairu day one, but he had a cold start in May, but came roaring back and finished strong, which is what put him up to Majishira 6. So you're right. I'm kind of interested. For me, there was a lot of controversy swirling around Asana Yama. Okay, Asana Yama, took the yusho, which was kind of an interesting surprise, and to some extent, his sumo looked very good. Okay, so his sumo looked great. And the other thing to notice about that is that he didn't really face many in the way of the top-ranked people. So, some fans wanted to put an asterisk beside that yusho. And, some folks thought he was going to be promoted into Sanyaku. Instead, he's Majishira 1 East, which I think is a great rank for him. So there was this joke that Haruth posted on Twitter about him wanting a Kinboshi from Hakuho. And, you have to wonder if maybe there was some thinking along that, because we'll get into the visit that Asana Yama paid to Mediano Heya a little bit later in our news section. But Asana Yama's rank was really kind of very interesting to me. The other thing I like to talk about is, after 2016, when we had Matakayumi and Tamawashi sort of occupying the Sekiwaki ranks, and then they weren't, and now they're back again. It kind of feels like a comfortable old shoe.
Yeah, those two in particular seem to be the stable of the stable lower Sanyaku, kind of the Goeidos. Because it's like I don't think that they're really at the point where either of them are good. Well, Tamawashi's already got his yusho, but I don't see them going consistently for 12 wins every time, right. Or trying to push for an Ozeki hood anytime soon.
Right. They both have yushos. That's kind of interesting to me.
Oh, I forgot about Mitakeumi's.
That's right.
Yeah, I totally forgot about that one. Yeah, that one snuck up on me. But well, a lot of things sneak up on me. But both of them are very very solid. I don't see them continually pursuing the 12 wins in order to get there into the Ozeki ranks, but we'll see.
Yep. So let's pivot on into some news, because even though there's been very little to publish on the blog. There's tidbits of stuff, falling in and out. So first, let's talk a little bit about the site. We didn't actually set a record for May. Turned out that having a sitting U.S. president visit the Kokugi-kan was not nearly as huge of a draw as, say, a Yokozuna hitting somebody with a karaoke remote, or the first Japanese-born Yokozuna in nearly a generation to go in Thai. I mean, these things were far bigger draws than President Trump. And you know what? I'm kind of happy about that, because it should be all about the sumo. But we more or less tied our top. I think we came within, 100 or 200 of our top?
Yeah, it was really close.
But, the site continues to draw what I would call surprising numbers, because I have no idea this many people like sumo.
Well, and the thing is, what really surprised me about the last tournament was, like you said, Trump wasn't a big draw, but the Tochinoshin controversy, that drew, all of a sudden, somehow Tbilisi was picking up more hits than Chicago, and LA. I mean, that was a pretty big surprise.
So our Tochinoshin, sort of the ones around the some of his matches that left people with a funny feeling, they were our biggest posts of that entire tournament.
Yeah, and it was very interesting. We've always gotten pretty decent, I guess, coverage and fan base from Georgia. Yep. But it really blew up with Tochinoshin and his potential. Well, the fact that he was gunning for Ozeki again. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out now that he's back up there, as well as with Gagamaru down there fighting to get back into Makuuchi.
That's crazy, is that Gagamaru is at Juryo 2 after he was down in Makushita. He's in promotable range now. What on earth is that?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to it. I think he could do it, because there's I need to look at his record against the Pixies. There are a lot of those Pixies down there in lower Juryo, in lower Makuuchi, and in Juryo now, that I don't know how well they would be able to handle Planet Maro, and so I got to take a look at that data.
So another interesting thing, and this is a sort of two coming up section, is that Josh spent a good portion of Natsu over in Japan, and during the Natsu Basho, he's actually had an extended talk with Murray Johnson of NHK Grand Sumo coverage. He also had an extended discussion with Asana Yama, and the man doesn't just travel to go watch sumo tournaments. He's on the road a lot for work, so we're hoping at some point we're going to see those interviews either as transcripts or as some recorded form, because supposedly there's a lot of really neat information to come.
Yeah, I'm really, really looking forward to that, and I'm actually a little bit jealous, but because it's been a while since we've been able to head back over there.
Josh scores. He's the social guy. Everyone likes to talk to Josh, and it's really cool. So let's see what else. Some more news is that it seems that Hakuho's request to renounce his Mongolian citizenship has been approved by the government in Mongolia by an executive order. And so now he's going to be able to renounce his citizenship, gain Japanese citizenship, and take up a kabu. So we're going to see him as a stable master.
There were some really interesting comments about that. I'm wondering if that does make him a stateless person for a little bit. It wouldn't surprise me if he's officially stateless, but I think that his being he's not exactly being kicked out of Mongolia. So
right. No, he's a national hero.
Exactly.
They're not making him turn in his fancy costume or any of the rest of that stuff.
And I mean, he's I'm sure always welcome to go back home. So I don't think that he necessarily qualifies as stateless. But there was some stuff that Haruth was just posting earlier today about how they're not too crazy about it in the Sumo Kyokai.
Oh yes.
How they may not, especially his bad behavior. But I mean, after Asashoryu, I don't know if his bad behavior really counts. Although,
Yeah,
well,
bad behavior.
and
Whatever.
and then I guess to your one of the other topics that I know you want to talk about, his bad behavior may have shown up roughing up the latest yusho winner.
Yeah, we're going to get to that. But yeah, what Andy's alluding to is that the Sumo Kyokai may in fact not necessarily give Hakuho his name as a sumo elder, which is something that they did for Taiyo, Kitanaumi, and Takanohana, right? So he may not get to be Hakuho Oyakata. But that's okay. I'm sure they're going to find some elder stock for him to purchase, and he has no shortage of money with which to do it. So, I'm sorry, Andy. Go ahead.
Oh no, I think that if anything, Miyagano Oyakata is just waiting to hand it over.
I'm sure.
So we'll see.
I'm sure. Hakuho's been very, very good to him, so I'm sure those two are on friendly terms. So speaking of Oyakatas, my least favorite Oyakata, Onamatsu, the head of the Shimpan, the judges, has decided he's sitting Nagoya out. There's been some vaguely mumbled references to health problems, but the guy is a freaking hazard to orderly sumo. When they decide that they're going to do a mono-e and he's up on the doyo, you just know that it's a shambles, man. And I applaud whomever told him to sit it out, to not get himself baked in the heat of Nagoya, because, oh man, that guy's a wreck.
Yeah, when I first saw the news, I was like, "Oh, health issues," and then the light bulb went off that, well, there have been some rather controversial calls and
unexplainable narrations.
Yeah, exactly. The calls and then just getting names wrong and just overall uncomfortable situations.
Embarrassing. Yes.
Right.
Very
so
embarrassing.
It would not surprise me if even at his own will, I guess, he may have wanted to let somebody else take the heat for a little bit.
Speaking of heat, there were plans released last week of the new venue up in Nagoya. So the existing gymnasium is really old, doesn't have proper air conditioning, and is kind of a tough place to hold a midsummer tournament. And so plans were released for the new one that actually has actual air conditioning and is sort of much better put together. Originally, they said that the venue was going to be closed this summer, but they're still doing it. So I know you've been to Nagoya.
Yes.
Tell us about just how sweaty it was, Andy.
It was very, very hot, but Haruma Fuji won that tournament, and that's about the only thing I remember. Like, it was an extremely, extremely hot experience because it wasn't just inside the gymnasium there. They've got Nagoya Castle like right there on the grounds, and I mean that whole area is. We were there during really good weather, and it was hot as a result. And but it was a great time. I mean, Nagoya is a great city. We enjoyed they had the Toyota Museum over there, which was actually really, really cool.
Yeah.
And it's a very nice city.
Yeah,
So
Nagoya is a great town. Hope to go there someday. Can't wait. So let's unless you have other news that you want to talk about, let's sail straight into our world famous Genki Report. So we're going to talk about who we think's hot and who we think is not. So let's let's tee it up right away at the top of the Banzuke. Hakuho and his gimpy arm. Reports are that he has, and we're going to get into this, that he's actually started doing sumo matches in the past couple of weeks, and he's feeling very healthy. Thank you very much. So everyone's expecting the boss is actually going to enter the tournament and possibly do his thing. Andy, I know you're dying to talk about it. Let's talk.
Well, I think that with the concussion that he gave to Asana Yama, he was sending out a little signal there that you got to watch those tricks now. That Kachiage is going to come up and catch a couple of people, I think, this time.
So let me follow up on that. So Asana Yama was invited by the Dai Yokozuna to come and practice at the Heian. And, you know, if you're a Majishura 1 East, you don't say no. But he showed up with no Tsukibeto. It was just him. And in their first match, Asana Yama put the Yokozuna on the clay. And after that, he got his bell rung. So, you know, I think Hakuho got a little notification that perhaps his days are catching up with him, but he did apply some pretty brutal sumo. Andy, follow up on that if you would.
Well, I mean, one of my first, I guess, YouTube videos that I saw of Hakuho way back in the day was him knocking out Myogiru.
Yes.
Myogiru from, it was probably 2015 or something like that. And it's just staggering to see the Kachiage and how it just caught Myogiru, and he was very lucky to be able to get back up and walk off under his own power. Yep. So I'm sure that Hakuho has, I guess, taken the gloves off and is going to be using a little bit more of the tricks as his abilities are no longer. I mean, we're not going to be seeing, and as soon as I say this, we're going to have a Hakuho Zensho Yusho. But the thing is, I don't think we're going to see another Hakuho Zensho Yusho for ever. I mean, I think that we've unfortunately seen the injury to the greatest sumo wrestler ever that may end up ending his career before the year is out.
So and I'm kind of curious about that because, you know, some of what you're saying reflects some of my thoughts. Will Hakuho leave sort of out of dignity, or is someone going to injure him out of sumo, in your opinion?
I think he...
I'm sorry, let me pause you there. I'm sorry to interrupt.
Oh, no worries.
I am, of course, saying this about the greatest Rikishi ever to live, at least as far as anyone's concerned, and I fully expect him to have a few more really good tournaments. But sorry, Andy, go ahead.
Oh, no, it's just... I really think that it will depend on the outcome of this tournament. I don't know if his injury is so serious that, like with Kiseno Sato, he's not going to be able to finish another tournament, or if it's one where he's going to be able to pick up. If we've still got Hakuho at 80%, who's able to pick up 8-10 wins each tournament, then I mean, Hakuho will still be there this time next year.
So I will say watch the match against Takakeisho. I have a feeling about Takakeisho and Hakuho as being a very pivotal match. It's sort of the new generation versus the old, and maybe it'll be something and maybe it won't.
Do you think that Hakuho will make it to that bout?
Yes.
Do you think that
yes. I think he is determined that he's going to run all 15 days in Nagoya. Absolutely determined. And I think that, you know, because he's Hakuho and because he's going to be fighting Majishira at first and, you know, some of the bottom half of Sanyaku, his sort of Dai Yokozuna presence, as we've seen during the first act, he is very minimal in his sumo, very efficient. He doesn't move much. He doesn't do much. But people just are completely psyched out. It's like, holy crap, I'm fighting Hakuho. And so he's able to dismantle them, right? And I think he still has that reality distortion field. And I think it's still going to work for him, at least going into the middle weekend. So we'll see. We'll see. So we talked a little bit about Takakeisho. Takakeisho banged up his knee. withdrew from his first tournament as Ozeki, comes into Nagoya Kadoban, and is still hurt. So hurt that it was Tuesday that he first started doing any sort of actual training matches against lower-ranked Rikishi. Thoughts about Takakeisho, Andy?
Like you said, I'm worried about him. I think he will pick up his 8. And the key thing that I'm looking for in Takakeisho's bouts is he going to be moving forward and beating people up, or is he going to be retreating like what happened with Tochino Shin at the last third of the last tournament, where he with the injured knee, he started pulling more, and we've seen that with when you have those lower body injuries, like Goedo, or when Kakuryu starts moving backwards, that's when they start relying on that Hataki Komi, and it works out 50% of the time, but when you're Yokozuna or an Ozeki, you need to be moving forward. So for me, it'll be that key of the first few days to see, is he going in and beating people up, or is he backing up?
Yep, so going to be very interested to see how that turns out. So also in Ozeki land, Takayasu. The news around Takayasu seems to be vague. It's just sort of he doesn't feel well. He hasn't been going to joint training sessions, and he's sort of a little iffy. Matter of fact, you don't even see any sort of firm commitment with less than a week to go that he's going to enter. So any thoughts about Takayasu?
Just reading all that news and reading what Haruth finds, being able to see that he's had very little participation and kind of skipping certain activities and ceremonies. Like you said, there's not a whole lot on practice, and what there is, it's not too promising. And that got me thinking, it's kind of the opposite of what we were hearing from that same camp when Kisa Nasato was injured. And that made me wonder if it got me thinking the other way, that it's a ploy, and so, like, as soon as we start worrying about him, then watch out. This is going to be his breakout tournament, and he's going to hope the yusho.
But so one of the indications that I thought was interesting is that Arasu Oyakata, aka former Yokozuna Kisa Nasato, is actually showing up at other Ichimon's joint training camps, rather than necessarily beating Takayasu to a pulp daily, which seems to be one of his favorite things to do. So we'll see if that's indicative of there being a problem there.
Yeah, I mean, with such little information coming out, and it all kind of being negative, since it's just the mirror opposite. I mean, it's a reflection of what we were hearing from when Kisa Nasato was injured. I'm thinking that there may be something that maybe Takayasu's got something, a hole card there that he's waiting to play. He may be ready to go. And
so let's swap out of people who are possibly hurt and into folks that are looking Genki. So I'll start with Riordan. Riordan seems to be looking very Genki. I mean, he's over the past 3 days, he's done north of 50 bouts, and just seems to be on fire, full of energy, full of fighting spirit. There is some concern that he's using up his stamina when he should be conserving it for fighting in the heat of that gymnasium. But at 27 years old or so, he's sort of at the point of do or not do. Thoughts about Riordan?
This is definitely going to be a test, because the last time he was anywhere close, the last time his highest rank was Maegashira 3.
Yeah, he's Konosubi this time.
He got beat down. Well, it wasn't necessarily a beat down, but 6 and 9. And then I do see that he was able to beat like Goedo in the last tournament. But is this going to be a tournament where he's able to break out and not only just beat the occasional elite wrestler, but a, a couple of them or several of them. I haven't seen anything from Riordan where that's in the cards necessarily this tournament. So we'll see.
So what I've noticed about Riordan during May is that his defense has improved dramatically. You see his footwork and his leg work, and he's far more efficient. He keeps his feet closer to the clay, so that he's not as easy to move when he's facing pressure. And I think that might be what took him to Komosubi. The only thing that will keep him there, though, is a strong offense. And it remains to be seen if he can muster that.
Well, and being able to do that against a crop of admittedly injured guys like Hakuho.
Oh, I don't know. Let's just take Tamawashi, Matake Yumi, and Goedo. Okay? Just those four guys. If he's not feeling Genki, just those four guys will do a number on him.
Yeah. And because that's where he was able to do 10-5 against the Maigashira 11-10 ranks.
Yeah.
But if you're going to be shooting for Ozeki, you would be cleaning up down there. And I mean, definitely doing what Asana Yama did and picking up yushos.
So okay, so you mentioned Asana Yama. Let's talk about the yusho winner. He's got a heavy burden coming in. Even before he got his bell rung by Hakuho, he's had all these ceremonies and parties that he's been attending as the yusho winner. He's sort of, a rising star in sumo, and thank goodness there was no Jungyo to distract him as well. But frequently these guys, do well, get up to Majishira 1, and then take a beating. Thoughts on whether he's going to be able to hold on to this rank, or if we're going to see him recycle like his pal Takayama did?
Well, hopefully the beating that he took was the other day, and he'll be able to rest for a week and come back fresh and really maintain that rank. But he's going to be facing the meat grinder, and it's going to be a much more difficult go of things this time around than it was in May. So I'm very hopeful that he'll be able to stay up there in the upper Maigashira, but I'm not too optimistic about it.
So I'm going to engage broken record mode, because I know I say this nearly every time we're podcasting, but there are reports, actual credible reports, that in training Abi is doing Yatso Zumo. As in he's grabbing the belt and he's fighting using the mawashi. Are we going to see a change in Abizumo, you think? Or is that just fairy tales?
I would love to see, not necessarily all of a sudden a switch to the belt and Yotsusumo. I would like to see more oomph from that Oshizumo that he does. Because just watching that Kakuryu bout, he's sitting there just going for the face, throws in a couple of notawas, and Kakuryu just kind of weathers the storm. And I don't see, I guess when you look at a pusher thruster, you think pushing and thrusting, and Takakeisho gives you that, where he's going forward and he's pushing and thrusting. But with Abi, it's like he's pushing and there's not the thrust behind it. There's not the force. And so what I'm hoping is that he'd be able to get his body into it and really start. I mean, I don't know what he would have to do to get more power into that, but it just seems like when he does his Butsukari, that people are able to withstand it, and his wins come not from the Oshizumo, but from pulling afterward and doing Takikomi. I feel like if he can get the momentum going the other way and sustain it, that's where he's going to have his most of his success. Changing to Yotsu and picking up the belt, you're talking about a total different muscle groups, and I don't know if we'll be able to see all of a sudden Yorikiri wins or even like Nage throws. I don't necessarily think that he'll be able to do that in a tournament. But I do think that if we'll be able to see some more forceful thrusting rather than just the pushing and the pulling, the Hataki Komi wins, then he may be able to keep moving up the Banzuke.
So we're going to end with one last, which is a real fan favorite. A lot of people had never heard of Enho before May, and were captivated by this guy's drive, spirit, intensity. But it appears he's hurt his shoulder, and he's struggling now, but he intends to enter the competition anyhow. We were kind of interested in the Pixie Corps down in the bottom end of Makuuchi for Natsu, but Ishihara went back to Juryo, and some of these guys were struggling. Thoughts about, is there room at the top for little guys?
Not necessarily at the top, I don't think. But I mean, well, if the top is Sanyaku, if the top is Makuuchi, yes. I mean, Mainomi, we've seen how a very versatile, smaller wrestler is able to compete and compete with the larger wrestlers. Yep. But even now, our wrestlers are on average bigger than they were in the Mainomi days. Yep. So it's trickier, and sometimes, as we've seen with Ishihara, it can feel a little gimmicky sometimes, and with Ishihara, it feels like once he gets figured out, he doesn't really know what tools to go to next. Yep. And then you get a guy like Ura, who he's got all of the flexibility, and then when you start putting in that muscle mass and the girth and the bulk, all of a sudden that flexibility becomes a liability. And I think that there's a balance in there, but clearly they're not going to be and Ura is probably the biggest, I guess it belies what I'm about to just say, but it seems like when you get rather big guys like Koto Shogiku, Kisano Sato, Teruno Fuji, like the knees seem to go, and the Pixies don't really have the knee issues that the larger wrestlers have. But we'll see if they're able to have longer careers than the bigger guys, because now our Sanyaku wrestlers, they all seem to be these big belt wrestler types with like Tochinoshin, and when you watch them now, Tochinoshin can't do the crane as much as he would like to. Yep. Teruno Fuji, if he's gonna be able to win, it's not gonna be from picking people up anymore. He's gonna need to pick up some Oshizumo, and I think that with the Pixies, the Pixies' real advantage is in their versatility. And with Ishihara, he kind of got figured out. Hopefully, the other Pixies have some more tools. And Koto Eko seems to be, Koto Eko seems to be one of those guys who may be able to stay a little bit longer with the throws that he's able to pull off. But time will tell.
So you mentioned Terunofuji. Let's pivot into our next section, which are some interesting folks further down the Banzuke. So you've heard me go on about, or you've read me going on about Makushita and the top ranks of Makushita, and where that seems to be some of the most intense sumo action that you can find. Sadly, because the Japanese streaming service Abima decided that anyone outside of Japan needs to go suck a rock. We have a difficult time now watching lower division matches. But it doesn't mean that the competition's any less crazy. So going into Nagoya, there are a group of people in the top 10 ranks of Makushita that will make for absolutely frantic, brutal sumo. We have Hoshoryu, which, if folks don't know, is Asashoryu's nephew and seems to have a really good natural knack for sumo, as well as a very strong work and practice ethic. You have Naya, who is Kaio's grandson, and also has he's taken a slower path up the Banzuke than Hoshoryu did, but now he's up there, and he's matched at Makushita 6 with one of our favorites from Makauchi, none other than injured wrestler Chiyo Kuni. And there's a ton of other people who are up in these top 10 ranks of Makushita. So what do you think, Andy? Are we going to see broken legs and body parts flying out the windows?
Well, I'm not going to... Is Hoshoryu the one who last injured Ura?
Yes, it is. Yes, it was the match from hell.
So
he broke Ura. Well, Ura broke Ura, really, right? He tried to resist the pivot that Hoshoryu was using for the throw, standing on one leg, and only his knee is the broken knee as the pivot point, and down he goes.
And, I mean, Hoshoryu is a very, very versatile guy. He could easily fit into the Pixies, but he's lost twice recently to a couple of guys who are, well, 3 guys that are right there with him, who just got boosted up to Juryo. He lost twice to, I'm going to butcher these names, I'm sorry, Ichiro.
Yep.
And the former Koto Kamatani.
Yep.
As well as he lost to Ryuko. And we'll see if he's going to be able to join the Pixies anytime soon, but it's exciting to see where he is there, and I'm particularly excited to see Chiyo Otori making a comeback. He had a very strong performance last tournament, and so we think that one more push like that, and he'll be able to join the pro ranks again, and that'll be great to see. But I'm particularly excited to see Tamaki.
Yeah.
He seems to be a pusher thruster. He does have that Hataki Komi abilities that I was talking about with Abi, and so that's where I'm wondering if he has the pushing, thrusting, moving forward of Takakeisho, because he has the Tsukidashi wins as well.
Yeah.
And so it's not just like the pushing, it's also the thrusting. But he also does have Hataki Komi, which is kind of an interesting mix of, is he both Takakeisho and Abi? That would be very, very interesting.
That'd be
terrifying. Little mix. And then Kaisho is in there. He seems to be like more of a belt, more of a grappler, but he does have the pushing, thrusting skills. So we'll see. I mean, it's a very, very exciting division, and I'm particularly excited about Chiyo Otori.
Yep. Well, so you mentioned the Juryo promotion wave, Ichi Yamamoto, Koto Kamatani. There's 4 or 5 guys who made it up to Juryo from Makushita this time. So good crop of fresh faces in the second division. Thoughts on that?
Yeah, we've got Takagenji's brother, Takanafuji. So he's really a belt guy. We'll see what happens when he faces some of these Oshi guys who are not going to let him anywhere near the belt.
Right.
Ryuko and Ichiro Yamamoto have come up together, and I think that's going to be. When I think of the legendary rivalries like Kisuna Sato and Kodo Shogiku, where each of them wins 30 times against each other, I'm hopeful that the two of them will have a very, very nice long rivalry career where you're able to see like 20 wins on each side, and so it'll be very interesting to see. But yeah, Ichi Yamamoto is an Oshidashi specialist, while Ryuko is more of a Yorikiri guy, more of a belt grappler. And so it'll be very interesting to see the contrast in techniques down there.
So further down in Makushita, there are a couple of names, one of which is familiar, which is Terunofuji. Terunofuji, after sort of blowing up his knees and having problems with diabetes, re-entered back down in, was it Jonikuchi? No, it was Janadan. Fought his way up through Sandanmei pretty quickly, and is now in the bottom end of Makushita. And with him is this young guy, Roga, who is an absolute powerhouse Mongolian monster. And the two seem to be chasing each other up the Banzuke. Now, these guys, they're down in the 50s, and so they've got quite a long way to fight to get anywhere near the top. But I expect a lot of exciting sumo from both of them.
I am very, very, very hopeful for Terunofuji, but I do think that his climb will begin to stall around here. Because I think that playoff loss against Roga kind of showed his weakness right now. He's not going to be forklifting anybody out of the dojo anymore. He's going to need to work on those Oshi skills, and you've seen that recently in the last couple of Basho. He has started to try to win. Even he had a Hatakikomi victories. I think the old Terunofuji will not suddenly make an appearance. The new Terunofuji will need to pick up some more Oshi skills, and I think that the belt grappling will stop seeing so much from Terunofuji, but from Roga, I think he's just beginning, and it will be very, very interesting to see his development.
It will. So one last sort of down the Banzuke, I would be quite remiss if I did not mention Texas Sumo Tori Waki Ichiro, who is back in Sandanmei. It's not his highest rank yet. His highest was Sandanmei 77, but he's at 85. He's looking more solid, better put together. His sumo is more under control, and each time his technique is better. So very much looking forward to what he can produce in Nagoya. The truth is he always fights better in Tokyo, so followers of his are like, oh, come on, 4 wins. Oh, we just need 4 wins there, Ichiro. So just wanted to point that out. Will, of course, because I'm a hopeless fan of Waki Ichiro's, I'll be posting all that crap on the blog. So if you want to follow it too, just check back.
Well, I mean, he was much faster off the line this time around, and he was able to blow a couple of the guys right off the dojo. So he was very, very aggressive, very energetic. I think one bout, I think he even went for the belt.
Yeah, he did, but it didn't work out.
Well, the thing is, he went for the belt against a guy who was a belt specialist, who was a grappler, and so I felt like it was either the bout before that one or the bout after that he was up against an Oshi specialist, and I was like, that's when you want to try out your Yotsusumo with a guy who doesn't know what he's doing on the belt. But So it would be very, very interesting to see if he is trying to, I guess, expand his own skills and develop either some grappling or just more energetic. Instead of pushing, some more drive and more energetic thrusting.
Yep.
That would be much more powerful.
Looking forward to it. But again, the sort of blackout of lower division matches is going to make it kind of tough. So let's, before I start whining about how I can't watch lower division sumo anymore, let's go into our predictions. Andy, you are always the man with the prediction that gets noticed. What have you got for us this time?
Takayasu yusho.
Oh, from your lips to God's ears. Let's tell me more.
I think that they're downplaying this is coming off of the same stable that would always play up how Kisuna Sato was battling against Takayasu, and that meant Kisuna Sato was going to come back and win another yusho, and now it's just silent. And I'm like, he's sleeping on us. He's got it. He's sleeping on us. He's going to come out and he's going to go into full bear mode and just maul the rest of the division.
Well, that would be very interesting to watch, and I think people would really be very happy about it. Okay, so now I'm going to probably annoy the daylights out of you. I'm going to say, unfortunately for those of you who want otherwise, I'm predicting Hakuho and possibly a Zensho Yusho. So the boss has something to prove, and he is such an egotist that he will drive himself to destruction in order to match his ideals. And
I would be very happy with that. I really, 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 really am hopeful that not only Hakuho will finish the tournament, but if he can pick up 10, 12 wins, I will be astounded. And I mean, I guess the first 5 days I'll probably be put at ease or about his injury or more concerned about it. So those first 3-5 days are going to be kind of pivotal in this tournament. Who's picking up those early losses when they shouldn't? I mean, if Mitakeumi wants to go for an Ozeki run, which, I mean, that's the thing. Mitakeumi and Tamawashi are the stable wrestlers right now. They've got they are competing at a high level, and I mean, other than when Mitakeumi had his own knee injury, they're competing at solid komusubi sekiwake level, and so I'm very, very hopeful that Mitakeumi can kind of put it to the next level, and start off at this tournament, but we'll see.
Cool. All right. Well, hey, Andy, thank you very much for joining us for this podcast. And fans, thank you very much for watching all the way through. We appreciate it. And remember, for Sumo, it's Tachiai.